This week on Jerusalem Dateline, schools closed, flights canceled, and Israelis quarantined as coronavirus spreads throughout the world. Plus, Netanyahu reaches out to Benny Gantz to form a national emergency government to combat corona. And Joel Rosenberg's new book, The Jerusalem Assassin. What's the message behind it? All this and more this week on Jerusalem Dateline. Hello and welcome to this edition of Jerusalem Dateline. I'm Chris Mitchell. In light of the coronavirus crisis, Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu called for the formation of a national emergency government. It's just one of the unprecedented steps Israel has taken to combat the global pandemic. Prime Minister Netanyahu issued the call during a nationwide television address.
I call on the formation now, even this evening, of a national emergency government. Without any hesitation, without any postponement, it will be an emergency government for a limited period. Together we will fight to save the lives of citizens. We have to put politics aside.
Netanyahu also took what he called another necessary step. He closed schools like this one and universities throughout the country until the end of the Passover holiday next month. Israel has also taken the unprecedented step of requiring all international travelers to be quarantined for 2 weeks upon arrival. At Tel Aviv's Ben Gurion Airport, you can see the impact. Normally, there would be thousands of travelers coming and going through Israel's main international airport. Now, it's nearly deserted. The ruling is having an enormous impact on the economy.
I have already a couple of cancellations.
It's had an immediate impact on tourism.
Groups will not show up. If they have to be isolated for 2 weeks, they cannot come for a week.
Some Israeli airlines plan to stop international flights. One called it a death blow to Israeli aviation. The finance ministry estimates the requirement could cost the economy nearly $1.5 billion a month. The government said those travelers already in the country will need to leave in an orderly fashion in the coming days. These travelers just completed their tour and are headed home. Most were unaffected by the coronavirus, but this couple couldn't attend church because Israel has restricted public gatherings to 100 people.
They were very positive, very assuring that they loved us and cared for us, but it was a government edict that no public gatherings were allowing tourists that had been in the country less than 2 weeks, 14 days.
And we're trusting God to take care of whatever it is we face.
Others also put their trust in God.
I'll take it one step at a time. I'm not worried. I have a mighty God. No, I'm not worried about it.
As a tour guide, Groner looks forward to the end of the coronavirus crisis.
Israel is a beautiful place, safe place to visit. Come and visit us. Once this is over, come and visit us.
The coronavirus pandemic has affected most people around the world, including here in our own Jerusalem bureau. CBN Middle East correspondent Julie Stahl had to be quarantined, and I talked with her about her experience in our Jerusalem studio. Julie, probably hundreds of thousands of people around the world that have been in quarantine or are in quarantine now. You have been in quarantine. What was your experience like?
Well, it was a little bit daunting. You know, we got back from Paris on a work assignment, and we were out for 9 days, and then they put the quarantine on us. So then I knew I had been with people. We had been at the Likud party headquarters for election night. So I had also this little bit of fear that I might have given something to someone else, although I didn't think I had it. So it was a little bit daunting. At first I felt like a leper, like, you know, I should be saying unclean, yeah, stay away. You know, I live in an apartment. I made chicken soup the first day, and I realized, what am I going to do with my garbage? It's going to stink within, you know, a week or so.
But you did have the coronavirus test. What happened?
So I had the test, yeah, they called me up and they said, we're coming to your door. I had a man named Avi. He said, don't open the door till I knock. I knew he had come in the door of the apartment building. I looked out the peephole and he was putting on a complete suit. He came in my house, totally gloved, completely protected, and, you know, said, you know, hi, I'm Avi, and very, very sweet. It was like having a throat culture and a nose thing, and, you know, it was pretty harmless. Yeah. And then a day and a half later, I got the results back that I was corona-free.
Yeah. So 2 things, Julie. Tell us what got you through, And what advice would you give people that might be in quarantine right now?
Well, first of all, really my friends got me through probably. The Lord got me through, but really He used my friends. Many, many people called me. I spent a lot of time on the telephone. I was very glad for technology, emails, WhatsApp, whatever. Also, people brought me food. They laid things at my door, flowers. So that was very, very nice. And really, I had to keep reminding myself to keep my mind on the Lord. So that was, that was critical. There was a part where I got kind of afraid, like I said, that I might have given it to somebody else. Not so much that I was afraid I was going to have it. Yeah. Also, I think scriptures like Psalm 91 or Psalm 9, that God is my shelter, He's my shield. Also, some practical advice. People said make a plan for every day, and also to keep a journal. Yeah. And those two things kind of kept me going, but with the Lord.
Amen. Well, great advice for those that are in quarantine or may have gone into quarantine. And thanks for sharing your experience, and that can be a blessing to many others. As we said, Prime Minister Netanyahu is calling on Benny Gantz of the Blue and White Party to join with him in a national emergency government. Earlier, Israeli President Reuven Rivlin received the official results of Israel's latest election. If an emergency government is not formed, he'll meet with the various parties of the next parliament, who will recommend to the president who should form the next government, Benny Gantz or Benjamin Netanyahu. After President Rivlin received the official results, he called on politicians of both sides to work for stability.
This is the place to remind party heads and elected officials that this House and me personally are at your disposal for any serious and genuine conversation you may wish to hold. Any agreement you're able to come to that produces a stable government which gains the trust of the people will be welcomed.
In the past, Rivlin has called for a unity government between Gantz's Blue and White and Netanyahu's Likud, but neither party has accepted his proposal. Gantz has mobilized all the leaders of the center-left to help him oust Netanyahu as prime minister. It could give him a narrow majority of 62 members in the next Knesset. If, and it's a big if, he's joined by the parliament's third largest party, the Arab Joint List. The Arab parties have never been part of an Israeli government. One reason, they reject the idea of Israel as a Jewish state, and some have aligned themselves with terror groups such as Hezbollah and Hamas. During the campaign, Gantz dismissed Netanyahu's charge that he would align with the Arab Joint List, but now the prime minister's warning looks prophetic. But Gantz also has problems within his own party. Two conservative members of Blue and White want their party to keep its pledge not to align with the Arabs. They were told to line up with Gantz or resign. And another member of a left-wing party said she would not serve in a government with the Arab parties. If Gantz fails, the pendulum may shift back to Netanyahu and Likud. The nation, battling a coronavirus quarantine, awaits the decision by President Reuven Rivlin. Coming up, author Joel Rosenberg talks with CBN News about his new book, The Jerusalem Assassin.
Discover the connection between Passover and Easter in CBN's free guide, Passover and Easter, A Divine Connection. You'll explore the Jewish festival of Passover, understand why Jesus is the Passover Lamb of God, and encounter His death and resurrection like never before. Enrich your celebration of Easter this year with a free copy of Passover and Easter, A Divine Connection. Call now or go to cbn.com/Passover and Easter for your free guide.
Nigerian Christians in Iran are routinely arrested.
Happily, Christians continue to suffer.
In times of trial and affliction, you need to know the truth.
One of the fastest growing Christian populations in the world.
Join Wendy Griffith and George Thomas for Christian World News.
Young people are the ones who are open to the gospel.
Powerful stories of suffering and hope that affect all Christians. Watch Christian World News, Saturday at 5 p.m.
Hey, if you're tired and exhausted all day, you can't think clearly, and you really just need a cup or even a pot of coffee to get through your day, then join me, Dr. Josh Axe, for this new series where I'm going to teach you how to transform your diet and use essential oils and supplements to get a better night's sleep.
Get Protect Your Sleep and live your best life with innovative information from 5 leading sleep experts.
If you're not a great sleeper, you can do things to make yourself a great sleeper. If you're already a pretty good sleeper, you can enhance your sleep and be even better.
Discover a sleep-enhancing bedtime routine, how to put insomnia to rest, learn how to relieve pain that disturbs sleep, and much more in Protect Your Sleep.
Everything you do better with a good night's sleep.
Wake up to your best life. Call 1-800-700-7000 to get your free DVD or booklet of Protect Your Sleep today.
Don't miss out on this brand new series.
Author Joel Rosenberg's new book, The Jerusalem Assassin, takes place in the epicenter of the epicenter, Jerusalem's Temple Mount. Take a look.
The Jerusalem Assassin, New York Times best-selling author Joel C. Rosenberg's latest novel, unveils an unthinkable plot that turns all eyes towards Jerusalem and puts an American president in the crosshairs. The political world is rocked by a peace treaty between Israel and Saudi Arabia. Brokered by the United States, the historic peace summit in Jerusalem is the perfect platform for a presidential assassination. Read The Jerusalem Assassin from Joel C. Rosenberg. Pick up your copy wherever books are sold.
I talked recently with Joel Rosenberg about his new book, Overlooking That Most Contested Piece of Real Estate in the World. Joel, great to be with you here on CBN News. And,
great to be with you, Chris. Thank you.
What an amazing setting.
An amazing location.
Yeah,
historic.
Especially for your new book called The Jerusalem Assassin. Tell us what you can about the book.
It's a political thriller. The Jerusalem Assassin begins with a fictional American president deciding to roll out his big Middle East peace plan. Unfortunately, a series of senior U.S. advisors who are involved in drafting the plan start getting assassinated around the country and around the world. This causes the President of the United States to rethink. He starts getting very leery. Maybe this is the wrong moment to come to Jerusalem, to give a big speech up on the Temple Mount, next to the Al-Aqsa Mosque, next to the Dome of the Rock, right next to the Western Wall. And now it seems like a bad idea because he's got his senior advisors getting killed by a previously unknown terror group. But the Saudis say, listen, if the President of the United States, if you will invite the leader of Saudi Arabia to come to Jerusalem and have a high-level, high-profile peace summit that you host, Mr. President, with the Israeli Prime Minister, we will come. And the President thinks, wow, that's a Saudi-Israeli peace summit and possible actual treaty. That would be a bigger story than an Israeli-Palestinian treaty. And the President totally wants to do it. And then his security people say, Mr. President, with all respect, you can't have you and the Saudi leader and the Israeli leader standing on the most volatile piece of real estate in the world. That is a bad idea. And the President turns to Marcus Reicher, the hero of the book, former Marine, former Secret Service agent, and says, you lead the way. You and your team make this thing safe, and it'll be fine. And now it's a countdown to all those actors coming here to that spot, and the fear that, the bad guys will blow up the whole summit. So we just pray it's fiction.
And the setting is extraordinary. This is, as you have said, the epicenter of the epicenter of the epicenter, the Temple Mount.
That's right. And this is the most volatile, fought over, desired, lusted after piece of real estate on the entire planet. The idea that there could be peace often feels so elusive, and yet we do see the peace treaty with Egypt has held. It's not perfect, but it has held for more than 40 years. The peace treaty with Jordan thus far has held. But we haven't seen another Arab country make the decision since 1994, the Kingdom of Jordan, to make peace with Israel.
Like many of your novels, you started writing this over a year ago, and some people say your timing is uncanny, remarkable, or even prophetic. Just recently, the President Trump came out with his peace plan, and that here your novel revolves around the unveiling of a peace plan.
I don't really want to tie my fictional events that closely to what's really going to happen, because you don't know what's really going to happen, so you're trying to write about what could happen. But yeah, it's been kind of odd to have the president roll out this plan prior to the Israeli elections, in the midst of his own re-election campaign, and without any prospect that the Palestinian leadership, at least, we're going to say yes. So we continue to need to pray for the peace of Jerusalem. And that is a theme in the Jerusalem Assassin. No matter what happens, the Bible tells us what to do. Pray, pray, and keep praying.
Your novels are page-turners, they're thrillers, but what do you want people to take away from the Jerusalem Assassin?
Well, certainly the big picture that we want there to be peace. Yes, we as Christians know that someday there'll be a very deceptive peace that the Antichrist will come up with. So obviously we're not going to be thrilled with that. But you know, Jesus says, blessed are the peacemakers, right? The Bible says, seek peace and pursue it. Be at peace with all men to the extent it has to do with you, right? Pray for peace. So we need to be actively engaged in encouraging Arabs and Jews to make peace. It doesn't seem right now that the Palestinian leadership wants to make peace. We should keep praying for it. But there are moves in the Gulf area of states that leaders that seem like they're warming to the idea that this might be the right time, or soon, in the next few years, to make peace with Israel. And so we need to be praying for that. But I would also say one of the fun things about writing a novel, you know, it's just made up, but I am probably, maybe the only, I don't know, one of the few novelists who's actually gotten to go meet with a lot of these leaders, to go into those palaces, spend hours and hours talking about their views in Saudi Arabia, in the United Arab Emirates, Bahrain, Egypt. What do you think? What do you guys think about the peace process? And I think that one of the fun things, again, of writing a novel is you can take readers inside those rooms and some of those conversations. Now, I've fictionalized it all. These are not real conversations, but they are imagined conversations based on what I'm getting from my, you know, from the doors that God is opening for me. So when I started writing this book, I had the idea when I first got invited to Saudi Arabia to meet the Crown Prince in Riyadh and to take that evangelical delegation. And I started thinking, well, that's interesting. Like, this is just a small moment, but what could happen? And then looming over all of it is Iran, Turkey, Qatar, the Muslim Brotherhood, ISIS, Al-Qaeda, and all, you know, Hamas, Hezbollah, all the bad guys are gunning to stop any move towards peace. And look, it makes for an interesting place to live, interesting place to work, but it's certainly a target-rich environment if you're a political thriller writer.
A lot of fodder for perhaps your next novel.
Yeah.
Joel, great to be with you,
Great
and much success on the Jerusalem Assassin.
Thank you, I appreciate it.
Up next, an Israeli group is helping Jerusalem Arabs to learn Hebrew for their success.
Now, for a limited time, you can get 5 of CBN's critically acclaimed documentaries. Experience the rebirth of the modern state of Israel.
The historic bonds between the Jewish people and the land of Israel cannot be broken.
Relive the battle for Jerusalem in the Six-Day War.
Jerusalem is yours, forever.
Discover how Israeli volunteers are changing the world.
When people need us, we volunteer and we come and help.
Explore the world of Israeli technological innovation.
We're people of dreams. God gives us dreams. And that's really the roots, I think, of much of our innovation.
And understand the biggest land dispute in history.
Many Palestinian Arabs claim that the Jews stole Arab land. But is that the real story?
This exclusive Israel DVD collection can be yours for a gift of $40 or more. Call now or go online to get your Israel DVD bundle today.
Hello, I'm Dr. David Perlmutter, board-certified neurologist and #1 New York Times best-selling author. Wouldn't it be great to boost your energy, eliminate brain fog, and even reverse brain disease? Well, you can, and I'm going to show you how, along with some of the world's most well-respected brain experts in this DVD, Protect Your Brain.
Get Protect Your Brain, a free DVD only from the Christian Broadcasting Network, featuring experts on the cutting edge of neuroscience and brain health.
No matter how many times you've failed in the past, you really can do this.
In Protect Your Brain, you'll discover simple strategies to keep your brain young and healthy. Improve your memory. Discover the gut-brain connection. In Protect Your Brain, Get your free copy at CBN.com or call 1-800-700-7000.
If you want to improve the quality of your life, get the DVD, Protect Your Brain, and get it today.
The fight over Middle East peace often captures headlines, but that's not the total picture of Israeli-Palestinian relations. As CBN Middle East correspondent Julie Stahl reports, one Jewish organization is helping Jerusalem Arabs learn Hebrew so they have a better chance for success.
If you live in any place, in any state, and you don't know the language of the place, of the area, of the people who lives there, it will be difficult to continue your life normally.
This is the community center in Sur Baher, an Arab neighborhood of Jerusalem. It offers special Hebrew classes to some of the 40,000 residents of the area to help them integrate into Israeli society. Center manager Khaled Abu Kaf says there's been an upsurge in interest to learn Hebrew, especially among women.
The daily life of the people, it's with the Israeli community and society, and they need it all the time in the super, in the hospitals, in the road, in the bus, in the train, and everywhere. They need the language.
We see there's a huge demand for Hebrew. People understand that the situation is going to be more or less the same for the foreseeable future, and they understand they need this language.
The other important aspect is that the class is sponsored by a Jewish group, the Institute for Zionist Strategies.
We care about making Israel a better place. We care about taking care of everybody that lives under Israeli sovereignty. And so it's very important for us to engage this population and give the best tools for integration.
Project manager Nicholas Nissim Tubul says they have been holding separate classes for men and women for more than a year.
So we really believe that engaging this population is the best way to make Jerusalem better for all.
These women meet once a week and are 9 weeks into a one-year course.
I want to learn Hebrew because my children are learning Hebrew in school, and I want to study like my children.
I studied Hebrew for myself first and also to teach my children at school. I have a child that is autistic and he doesn't understand the teachers as he does with me. So I learned Hebrew to help him understand better.
Mothers Maisa Kutari and Hiba Dabash say it's important for them to learn Hebrew.
It's important for our lives. We are going shopping, to the hospital, everything in life.
We are living in a state with Jews and Arabs. We deal a lot with the Jews, so we need the Hebrew language because we frankly live with each other.
I love it. They're really amazing ladies. They're really enthusiastic and want to learn. They have a lot of motivation to improve and know a bit more. I think it helps them in their day lives.
Noah Gottlieb, an Israeli university student, says the learning goes both ways and has forced her to pop the bubble she was living in.
I came here to do this just because of the bubble popping, just to get out of your comfort zone, known zone, to see new things, to discover the real situation of this country, to know that they don't hate me and I don't hate them.
Julie Stahl, CBN News, Sur Baher, Jerusalem.
Coming up, a look at CBN Documentary's new film, I Am Patrick.
Roman soldiers destroy the Second Temple of Jerusalem. Centuries of eyewitnesses say the temple treasures survived. But where are they?
They went from Jerusalem to Rome, Rome to Carthage, Carthage to Byzantium.
Historians are silent about what happened to it next.
CBN Documentaries presents the worldwide release of Treasures of the Second Temple.
So does it still exist today?
A story of mystery.
Where is it?
Calamity.
Most of the victims were butchered.
And destiny.
The possibility to dig is impossible.
Get your copy of Treasures of the Second Temple. Yours for a gift of any amount to CBN Documentaries.
Christians around the world are standing with the Israelis. But why? In CBN's free magazine, Friends of Israel, you'll discover why Christians are supporting the Jewish state, how Israel is fulfilling prophecy as a light to the nations, and ways you can pray for the people of Israel. Israel needs the support of friends like you. Call now or go to cbn.com to get your free copy of Friends of Israel.
Watch breaking news, in-depth exclusive stories and programs from health to entertainment you won't find anywhere else. The CBN News Channel, a perspective you can trust. Enjoy credible news reporting from around the world. Discover inspiring programs and stories of hope, all in one place from a Christian perspective. The CBN News Channel, a perspective you can trust. To watch the CBN News Channel, download the app or visit cbnnewschannel.com.
How'd you like to get a redo on your health, on your body, on your arteries, so you could have the energy you had 20 years ago? The great news is you can. I'm Dr. Mike Roizen, chair of the Wellness Institute at the Cleveland Clinic. I've written 4 New York Times bestsellers. But even better than having to read all that, you can listen to this DVD and watch it. Protect your heart? Yes, you can. Here's how.
Go to CBN.com or call 1-800-700-7000 for your free copy of Protect Your Heart. Let the medical experts show you their new discoveries on how to avoid heart disease and even reverse it. Easy steps to uncover the hidden dangers in your medicine cabinet, reduce stress, and get a complete do-over for your health. Call 1-800-700-7000. That's 1-800-700-7000. Or go to CBN.com to claim your free copy of Protect Your Heart.
Most people know that St. Patrick's Day is March 17th, but what many may not know is that Patrick, patron saint of Ireland, was one of the most influential Christians in early Christianity. CBN Documentaries tells the story of this man who put his life on the line for the gospel.
Christ the Lord told me to come here to be with these people for the rest of my life.
The preconception that we've got about St. Patrick is completely wrong.
It is slavery for life.
Patrick.
People thought that his efforts to Christianize Ireland were doomed to failure.
Take him.
It's time to go.
I'm not finished.
I Am Patrick hits the big screen for a 2-night Fathom event. And yes, it's right in time for St. Patrick's Day, March 17th and 18th. Tickets are on sale right now. So to see one man's journey from slave to saint, go to iampatrick.com today. That's all for this edition of Jerusalem Dateline. Thanks for joining us. Remember, you can follow us on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and YouTube. And remember, the Lord says, "Fear not, for I am with you." And God is a very present help in time of trouble. So no matter what happens with the coronavirus, God is with you. I'm Chris Mitchell. We'll see you next time on Jerusalem Dateline.